Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Bald and Board Games. I'm Bald.
I'm bored.
We're going to give you a review of Secret Society by, I'm going to commit, Garphill Games.
Yes. This is a brand new game. We have done the unboxing, rulebook rundown here, and our playthrough of 2-player at least with the base game. We played it thoroughly. We think we can give an honest review of how it plays and all our other categories, and see where does it fit on our scale. Is it a must-play? Is it a absolutely perfect game? Is it a just okay? Or is it something we should ever play again?
Or shouldn't.
What?
Is it something we should ever play again?
We should,
or shouldn't
should never play again.
Oh, you
Not
said
ever. Should never.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. Didn't hear it. So this is your first review video. We do our reviews in a different way than most people do it. So we are each going to give individual scores. We'll have a conversation, then give each of our scores based on that category. There are 4 categories for this type of game. There is storage, rulebook, the design, which is the look and the component structure, and then gameplay, and it is weighted. So storage is at 15, rulebook is at 25, design is at 20, and gameplay is the other 40% of the 100% to get our score. So our individual scores will then be averaged out to get the final Bald and Board Games certified score for Secret Societies. All right, so first up we start with storage. So here we are with storage. Yeah. Would you like to start? Would you like me to start?
You
We're
can
going
start.
to have our
Storage is
conversation here?
Storage is yours.
All right. So storage, there isn't a lot going on here on the surface level, but they did a really smart thing. Every single character has its own tuck box, which is phenomenal, and they fit in here. The cards, which we have on the table, all go right there, and they all fit perfectly as well.
Including the expansion cards fit in the section, too.
And the expansion characters are over here as well, so they thought ahead, which is great. Everything else, all the components pieces, they have little baggies that go in here, fill up this well as well, and everything fits perfectly in here. There is no fold-up board that goes on top. There's just a lot of things like this that end up going in here. So I don't think storage is lacking entirely. I think they could have added in, some compartments maybe to hold components where you could just like take them out and put them on the table instead of having, baggies for everything. But I like the storage. Do you have any comments about storage?
Yes. So I love this. I love the character tray set. Again, the tuck boxes are great. It's something I care about in most games. Put all the character stuff for one character with the character. And that does it perfectly.
Yep.
It just stores it right there. And it's also included in gameplay, which is a fun thing we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about this storage is this section here.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's not too bad, but when you add especially the main board into here, it just gets very hard to pull everything out.
There's no finger hole.
Yeah, there's no finger hole. I wish this here on the edge, instead of being what this is, was just like something that slid in there. To hold it, then you just pop that out, and then you could just scoop.
Well, a lot of games, you could have just had the middle section here be empty, so you could literally just
that's true.
thumb in and pull up. And you could still have this here for the structure.
True. So, but other than that, everything fits nicely. Again, if we pull these out, these boards here are for the expansion. So those fit there. We've had this issue with other games where the expansion doesn't fit in the box.
Yep.
Or doesn't fit nicely in the box. They thought ahead. They fit it all here. So,
yep.
Great storage.
And I understand, when expansions don't fit in the box, if they were thought about way later on after the main game came out. But the biggest annoyance is when you have both things come out at the same time, the main game and the expansions, and you didn't think about how they're going to be stored in someone's house. So,
yeah.
Scores for storage. I give storage a 4 out of 5.
I also give storage a 4 out of 5. The main reason I didn't give it a 5 is this, which I didn't call out, but I'll call it right now, is all of these pieces here that you have to use in the game. I wish there was a well in the box that would pop out and you could just have it on the table. So you just have a well of all the pieces and be like, hey, here's your resource tray.
And that was my caveat to that, and not being able to take those out, like you said. All right, so next up we have the rule book here. And how well does it teach you how to play the game? This would also consider player references as well, which is also a gameplay component, actually, in this case. Yep.
So I'm moving right to the center. So in terms of the rulebook, we'll just quickly glance at it. So right off the bat, you have how to set everything up, including how to put those tuck boxes together, which is great. You have the components for each character that goes into those tuck boxes. You have setup of everything, and then you get into the gameplay itself and how to actually do the game.
Yep.
So I'll start with setup, like usual. Setup, very clear for this page here. So number 1, number 2, 3, 4, and it literally says, here's all of those numbers matching all of that. This page is a little more confusing. They specifically chose this character, the influencer, and instead of like easily being like, hey, here's how to like put these tokens into it, they just threw kind of words everywhere, almost like it was like an open conversation someone had with the page, and they're like, hey, here's this thing, but also here's this other thing, and here's this thing, and it's not structured clear.
It is left to right, top to bottom.
Yeah, but give me numbers. I want numbers or letters.
Place satellite, place treasury, set aside. Allow for plenty of space below. Place your 3.
No, I understand, like, it's all there, but I don't like how it's like, this isn't lined up here, this is like here, and then this is on this side of that card, this is like randomly in the middle. It's just not, this is organized well. Numbers straight down the side.
I don't have a problem.
Location. This is, there's no numbers. Yes, I can read it in order, that's fine. But I hate that it's just like chunks of text everywhere.
Okay.
So it's...
That's you? Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I think that's, again, for my mind, this makes perfect sense purely because they have the token or piece they're talking about directly with the little section and with an arrow saying, okay, bop here, go over, boom, boom, those 3, bang, bang, this, bada, bada, bing, boom, you can come here, or over here you have your extra pieces, this, it's telling you all that stuff. And so if you go down the page, in my mind, it makes sense, so it didn't bother me at all here. As we continue on, of course, it goes over the gameplay overview, which they also reference the reference cards, which we have on the table over here, which are a player aid for round around, which is phenomenal. During the game, we didn't need to go back to this rule book to understand what to do each round. It's literally right here, verbatim, clear as day, what to do, which was great. This is where we got into a little bit of confusion initially before we started playing, when it came to the whole bidding situation, because it told you like to keep space and everything between cards for this or that. And we're like, okay, well, you got cards on the side here, but then we turn to the next page, it's like above and below all of a sudden somehow for some reason, which didn't really make sense to us based on like how like the board typically would get set up. Like, why would you do above and then below? Really, it was talking about doing 2 different rows of bidding so that you can track, okay, row 1, row 2. But even that ultimately didn't end up mattering when it came to the bidding phase, because you go column by column.
And each character has a very clear, as you can see from this example right here, picture of their character. So you know who bid what amount once you flip the cards over.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the order mattered. You just count up the bids.
Yeah. And so that was kind of an interesting kind of thing that gave us pause when we were going through this. Yep. Is there anything else in there that you remember?
I have one other thing we'll go back to, but
you can go for it. Oh, you can go back to it.
It's specific to all the sections, not just the
okay. Yeah, I think that was my only caveat, was that that little bit that we had the confusion with. Everything else made sense. The back of the rulebook here, having all the reference, is great. I do wish that this though was on the back here instead of the 2-player rules. That could have been in the book, and you could have easily just had an author's note. You could have easily had this smaller on the back, and that would have been an easier and better reference.
Yeah, so 100% agree, yes. I always prefer these on the back, because when you're pulling them out, you're like, oh, what do they do? In this game, it operates a little differently because you're not cycling through them like in some other games. It's just one set at the beginning of the game, so it's not as big of a deal, but having it in a location on the back would be way better. And then here, before I go back to it, they do go over the different factions and what specific those factions do. There is setup instructions on your little tuck box if there are any, but this is nice where you can just pre-game go through and read off, this is how my faction works.
And the expansions have cards inside their tuck box that essentially have the same information, so you still have that for them as well.
And they have the HQ board, so each little board here operates a little differently in terms of what benefits it has, and it clearly identifies those. One thing I'm going to call out, though, so we're going to go back, we'll do it on this page, perfect, is you do have the big headers. So you have, obviously, boom, start around, bidding, which are the phases, resolution, which is a big phase before you get to growth. I do like the pictures. I wish this was a little more clear as we discussed, but the pictures are nice. What I don't like is how they did the examples. So if you look here on this side, you have text, here, example, text, example, text, example. I wish the example was either in a different color or in a different colored box.
Yeah.
So then you can easily see, hey, this is the example. And then you can associate it.
Example.
Yeah, then you can associate it down here. at least the way I would like to do is, okay, I want to read each section and be like, oh, this is how they all operate. Then go back and see the examples.
Yeah.
Where this is just all thrown in there. And again, you look at these 2 pages, that's a lot of words. And especially once you get into, I think it's growth here, there's just a lot of text going on. And some of it's examples, some of it's not. It just seems, it could be overwhelming when you're trying to go through this and learn the game, as well as trying to understand what it all means.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Scores for the rulebook.
All right. So my rulebook score is a 4 out of 5. It does well teaching you the game. There's a few little things that are confusing, and then the overall how they structure the examples.
And I give the rulebook a 4.5 out of 5. My only issue was I wish that those icons, going over what the different tiles meant were on the back, but during the game you easily learn what they are as we get into design next. The main caveat was that one section that was confusing as to like the bidding portion of this and like the row by row situation, which felt like it didn't matter and was needlessly confusing.
All right, so now we are on to design, which includes components. So what everything looks like, as well as how the component, like what the components are made of.
All right, so first thing I'm going to talk about the design are these tuck boxes, which I think are amazing. So these not only hold your components in box, but they also serve another purpose. So in the game, as Board called out, you have a screen that you have stuff behind. So when you fold the top and bottom portions back and retuck them, you have your screen that stands up and it has your information on the inside for you, which keeps all your money a secret behind that screen. I think that's a phenomenal design and use of material to have everything always be with its own stuff. Save space, you don't have a bunch of random screens in the box. Everything here is within that tuck box portion. What's something you like about design? Or don't like.
Excuse me.
Your choice.
No, like. I like the player board setup.
No, like.
I might have a dislike. We'll get there. But the player board setup. So at first glance, when we took these out, I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot of things on this player board. But it is very clear. You have 2 different tracks: your satellite track, your treasury track. It's very clear what is end game scoring, what is population, which are the little people, and perfect. These land that you'll get throughout the game get placed in these sections. So it is very clear, hey, 1 goes here, 2 goes here, they fit perfectly, and 3 goes over here. So I absolutely love the design of how these player boards are, that the little indents to keep all your pieces in order, as well as how things will change as the game progresses too, and all of the options, but we'll talk about that more in gameplay.
Yeah. Boop. Just grabbing some stuff here. One of my favorite things about the design as well is the asymmetry of these factions. So on the board, you have these 3 bottom sections where each faction has 3 unique abilities. So these specifically go into these sections, and they are different sizes, so you can never mix them up. They specifically go in those areas with their costs. They're getting more powerful. And in general, this area down here I like a lot, where you're having to use population. So people that you end up getting, you're putting them to work essentially. And then you have to have land, and you're choosing which ones to unlock. And based on which ones you unlock, there's a discount to the adjacent. So you can choose to unlock both of these to get discounts in the middle, or wherever you want, vice versa. So I think the resource management portion of like this design, how it's put on the board, is very intuitive and works really well for that. So I really like this bottom section. I think that was designed great.
Nice. And I'm going to flip it and do the exact same thing, but what I hate about the game board, or the
Nice.
player board, is the cards.
Yeah,
So,
it was coming.
yeah, so
Save that for you.
I'll talk more about the cards themselves later as a point. I hate how it's structured, where you get these cards, you're going to slide it either the top or the bottom, but there is no gap at the top or the bottom. So you're lifting your player board, sliding them in, and then you're layering them. So if I were to get another card of the same color and want to do this, it layers like that. And eventually, things start shifting around. And if you get things of different colors, and let's just imagine these going together, it's very tight in how it lays across the top and the bottom. one, I wish it was a like double layer board here, and then the bottom layer would just have a gap and you can slide in. And I know it because I'll tell you, I wish the board was just a little bit longer. I know they would have to widen the box a little bit to do that. But if it was a little bit wider, then you have a little bit more space in between each card.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the spacing of the cards, but it was annoying. You had to figure out that you had to like hold down the top of the board if you're sliding under, hold the bottom of the board if you're sliding to the top, which for design-wise, we've seen this in like the Witcher Old World. You could have made this a 3-layered board and have the bottom have like rows they slide into, so it's slightly lifted off the top, and there's an easy row you're putting it into. So that definitely would have helped a little bit for sure. For something that I don't like. I'm not a huge fan of the relatively boring look to the game. It almost stopped me from backing it, actually, when originally I got it. All of these components, like, they work just fine. But the square green land thing, very boring. It works well, obviously, for putting in there. This is probably the most interesting piece, which is the treasury building, but still kind of boring. This little piece here that you're moving along, there's no pizzazz. There's no interest, really, to any of this. It's a very bland game. The gears, the population, it's all just very blah. Even, like, at least give me metal coins. Like, we have wooden round discs as your money, which, again, it doesn't ruin the gameplay, doesn't impact the gameplay.
At least, like, have a special symbol for the game, like, printed on it.
Just put SS on there, or S.
No, don't put that. Don't put
Just
SS.
S. Just S. Just S. I realized it when I said it. Just S. But yeah, it's something to give it some more interest. Because what this looks like is this looks like they went to an online like place where they make these board game components, and we're just like, yeah, give me 50 of those, give me 20 of these, and that's it. So it is very boring to look at initially. As you play, you know, your gameplay takes over, your strategy and everything like that. But it definitely could be more interesting when it comes to the components.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, the components are what they are. They do the job needed for the game, but yeah, they're not exciting. Yeah, to the point. Yeah, if that was a metal coin, or at least had something printed on it that was unique to this game, that would be significantly better. What I'm going to say is the best component is not that. It is this.
The first player marker.
There's a gavel, which is your first player marker, because this is an auction game.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool. Although I don't think the first player ever changes in this game, if I remember correctly when we played. I think the first player is just always the first player. So it's not really necessary to be like, okay, you know who's going first, and then you just kind of cycle over and over and over.
First thing, pass the gavel.
Do you pass the gavel?
We did every time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so we do. Okay, cool.
Yeah. There's a different game where it doesn't change every play.
Yeah. Yes. It's hard to keep track of which games.
Armello.
Maybe.
Armello's where it doesn't change because it's just the same round.
But yeah, so this is a very interesting component. And these here are not trophies.
Obelisks.
Obelisks, there we go. And those are cool. Like, those work, and they fit into the game board again. They have the number on them of what you need to achieve them. So everything does its job for components, but nothing just pops out like, oh my god, that was awesome. Except for one thing. And I'm going to call these out here, and I'm going to call it out separately in gameplay, is the cards.
Hold on. Oh, I have another thing, man.
Oh, okay. So here's 3 of the cards. We have Kenya, we have Haiti, and we have New Zealand. And it goes through. So Nairobi, Kenya, Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and Wellington, New Zealand. So the capital cities. It actually shows you a cityscape of that city. So we'll zoom in further. There you go. You can see it. So it shows you the cityscape of that. I do hate the white text. I wish that was black text, but that doesn't impact my score of the capital city.
What does that with gameplay value? It's just...
I know, but pop it out. Like, it's important.
Get it popping. Come on.
You can easily just make that black text, though.
Get popping.
And the design of these cards is very nicely done.
Yeah.
Where it's very clear. Here's the resources you're getting. Here's the resource you're getting depending on if you put it in top or bottom of the game board. Here's some connection things, which I'm going to talk more about in gameplay. Here is what it is. So KEN for Kenya and their flag. So I think the cards, design-wise, are really well done.
Yeah, they're the epitome of less is more. They're not overly complicated. Everything is spaced out nicely and legible that needs to be spaced out and legible. So, like, the call out of the white, like, that doesn't need to be, there's no gameplay value. It's just a want because he likes that the name is there of, like, the port and stuff.
No, Port-au-Prince is their capital of Haiti.
That I'm not a geographer. I'm not a geographer. Anyway, but yeah, the simplicity is more so. It's very clear, like the gameplay value that those have in the symbols. There's no question whatsoever if this is that or if this means that. So yeah, those are phenomenal. The thing that I think design wise that I really like when it comes to design specifically for the gameplay. So not talking about how they play, but I like that every character has a unique design. So I like that every character has a unique look to them. Obviously, they have a different ability as well, and they're all very unique. They all play very differently, which come more into gameplay. But that whole idea of designing in that way, as well as the auctioning cards, I do like. Again, simple is better at times. A lot of people who probably saw this probably thought, oh, that looks boring. I'm an auction game, because I did too, until I watched somebody play it, and I was like, oh, actually, it looks like a lot of fun. Like this is gonna be a hidden gem for those who didn't discover it to start off. This here has a reward if you win, or a fail forward mechanic if you lose the bet. And again, these are very clear. It costs you this much. If you put this down, you got to pay 1 coin. You can put up to 3 on top of this, making this cost 4, meaning that's how much you're betting at the auction.
Value, yeah.
Yep. But this is, again, very simple as, okay, you get this. The iconography in this game is phenomenal. It is very, very simple. It took us one read through the rulebook, like, okay, this is what these things mean. And then for the goals, we kind of just double check to make sure what we think it means is what it means. But yeah, the character designs and those auction cards, I think, are great.
All right, so design score.
My design score is a 4 out of 5. Not perfect, again, because of the areas where simplicity actually hurts it, giving it a little bit of a lackluster sort of interest to it, where it felt kind of lazy.
My design score is a 3.5 out of 5.
Ooh, what, you trying to one down me?
Big hit. Obviously, I love the cards we talked about. The big hit was the game board. The fact that it wasn't double ply to make this easy, or double layered to make this easy, or
just
triple
for
layered.
someone like Board. If you watch any of our videos, he has a problem with like mine's minis. I tend to bitch slap minis.
I just
like
everything else.
They're my bitches. Like, get out of here, get out of here.
But yeah, so that was a major hit for me, and the simplicity. And there was no wow factor other than the cards to me.
Makes sense. All right, everybody. What you've really been waiting for, gameplay. So, we'll dive into everything that's gameplay. How's it play? What do you think? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Do you want to play again?
So we'll start off with a quick overview. And we'll say 2 things. Number 1, we have the America expansion.
We do.
We are not going to cover that in this video.
We did not play that.
Okay, we haven't played it yet. So all of this is going to be the base game. But specifically, we're going to call it the 2-player variant, because we did play the 2-player, and that adds one little change to it. So we'll call that out.
Correct.
But for the general overview, it's broken into 3 phases. Phase 1 is you have countries up here that you're bidding for. Each country has a color that matches the 5 colors available on your board. They have different resource advantages on top and bottom. You're going to take your bid cards. These are face down. They have question marks on them. You can see your value, and you put them out. You put out 2 every turn, 1 face down, 1 face up. That is the bid phase. The 2-player variant is there's also a dummy bid. So you'll have a dummy character, your opponent will have a dummy character, and you place 1 bid for each of them out as well. So just add some variance on what's being bid.
And the first person to go places theirs face down. The second person to go places theirs face up for those dummy bids. You're only putting 1 out for the dummy bids each turn.
Yes. So you have 3 countries here, plus 1 face down that you can get. You don't know what it's going to be, obviously.
Which will increase as the game goes on. You'll end up with 4 and 1 face down.
Yep. So that's phase 1, bidding. Phase 2, resolution. From left to right, you resolve whoever has the highest bid. If your dummy has the highest bid, that card's completely out of the game. If you have the highest bid, you must pay the gold cost. So if I have this, I must pay my 3 gold to the bank. Then this card goes off to the side. I gain this card. It comes into my player board. We then resolve card, card, card.
And conversely, you could also choose not to take it if you win. Effectively, you can try to force people to go after a card that you had no intention on buying in the first place, which is kind of a fun little thing.
Yeah,
I think
so
I eventually did.
If he bid 2, I bid 3, I can be like, no, I'm good, and he can pay 2 and take it.
Yep.
And that'll save me money for potentially other cards And also, it would be a loss factor. Or no, that wouldn't be, because I won the bid.
That's only if you lost the bid.
I don't know if I lost the bid. I can make my dummy win the bid, though, and I can get the loss factor.
Yeah.
So that's the resolution phase. This card would then come over here. And look at that. You put it in the correct color scheme, either top or bottom. And whatever you're covering up is what you gain. So I would cover this up. I would gain 2 land, 2 population. Boom, boom. Now I have those resources.
Yep.
And then the final phase is growth, which is building out on your game board. Utilizing the land, the population, and the industry to unlock a bunch of stuff, which is going to be used for endgame scoring or mid-game benefits. To unlock stars, to unlock these extra abilities that you can gain, and some other stuff. So that is the base structure of the game. There is 3 separate things, as you just flipped to there. Yep. Which is... There are events that will take place every few rounds, and you just follow the event when it happens. There is Global Trade Council that will take place, and which is some of these conferences as well.
4 and 6, yeah.
Yep, there's 4 and 6. You have conferences as well. And then if you're playing specifically with the robot faction, I believe it is, there is a trigger for something the robot faction has.
It's called Robot Uprising, which is just symbolizing you flipping over your drone tokens.
Yeah, and then at the end of 7 rounds, you total up all your victory points and see who the winner is.
Yeah, it's very much a hidden resource management Euro game to where you're managing your resources to unlock abilities, to push up tracks, to get points, very much like any other kind of Euro game. And another thing you're trying to do is complete rows. When you get 4 in a row, you will get one of these trade routes depending on what round you're in. The earlier you do it, the more points you get, and then you start to get resources as you go to the end, and you can end up putting that in once you have 4 to complete a row of 5, and so on and so forth. And there's all of these things on your board that you're trying to get points for the end of the game. So it's a lot of fun in that aspect. But what's your first point on gameplay?
My first point, I'm gonna go right to the cards. So I absolutely love how the cards work. So as you can see right now on the board, I have Lesotho in the middle of South Africa, which is your starter. I have Kenya. I have Portugal.
Portugal.
Now I'm gonna try to get some other stuff. So I over here bid on this one. Cost me 1. I'm the only one there. I pay my 1. I get this card. I get to look at it. Ah, cool. It is Spain. Spain has Portugal here. These are the 2 neighbors of Spain, France and Portugal. Mm-hmm. Shared borders. Portugal connects. That gives me benefits now. So I can gain movement on the satellite track. Boom, up 1. Now I gained a star. I'm going to place that star here. So now I'll gain benefits when I get islands. Additionally, I'll get these things down here on the bottom as well. And then boom, slide that in. Now I know that if I get France, they border Spain as well. Boom, I can now double that up again.
Yep.
So the comboing ability where I can do one thing that triggers a second thing that offers this, and then if I happen to have gotten Haiti or New Zealand, let's say first, boom, now I have a double island benefit. So the planning ahead of seeing some face up and then one face down allows you to strategically bid, one, potentially hate draft against your opponent.
Yep.
Be like, take it from them or force them to pay a little bit more, potentially. Yep. Or just do it in a proper order where you can like trigger a few different things. I absolutely love. And that came in fairly big in our playthrough.
Yeah.
Where both of us were like, hey, we got to do this, to do that, to do that. Try at one point at the very end, I'm like, hey, I need to block this so he can't get it because we're very close in VP.
Yeah. It was good. And just a note, so for this whole like comboing thing, Portugal doesn't have to be in the same top section. Like you could have put Spain there as well. You just have to have it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. You're always trying to combo in this game, and it's not a complicated convoluting situation either, which is nice. Yeah. The more complicated portion of your comboing comes in the growth phase where you're trying to use your resources, especially when you come to like, okay, I can exchange these to get this. Then I could do that to get more of this, to do this, to do that. But that's the fun combo Euro game portion of it. But for example, a convoluted combo-y system is like Weather Machine. Those tracks can get very out of control as they move and like what order you do things in. Here it's very clear what the order is based on what you choose and how it's done. which is great. Down from the moment you draft cards, it starts to ignite that.
Yeah. I also love is the fact that they didn't just say, hey, these two things connect because of the same color. Not all purples connect.
Yeah.
They literally, it's real world geography. It's the shared borders of those nations around the world. So if you're someone like myself who likes world geography and all of that, you can kind of plan ahead and be like, ooh, I'm going to get these two because I know they have a shared border in the middle.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to get Poland and Netherlands because Germany's in the middle. And then if I get Germany, it triggers twice.
In my mind, it doesn't work like that at all. I think it's fun regardless. But that's so we haven't played the America expansion yet. But America's for dumb people like me, Americans.
And there's that 50 states.
It's just the tracks you're moving up. It just adds a different dynamic. So instead of trying to connect borders, you're trying to get the various symbols to move tracks up. So it gives you, I think, 5 or 6 different tracks you're trying to move up, which, again, more comboing tracks. So it just gives you that alternate way to play while having the same way you're already playing, which is interesting, just without the world not complex context.
Yeah.
But this context is fun because you're playing as these secret societies, reptilians, Illuminati, vampires, werewolves, aliens, bunch of people. Influencers, and you're trying to essentially take over the world. So it very much feels like you're a villain trying to steal land, which is a lot of fun also. Yeah.
All right. What's your
first? I love the resource management portion. I love that whole portion of the choices and getting your resources. And despite my gripe with how they look, I like how they're used. I like that I can focus, okay, I'm going to push this up to try and get this to go up to get that, like that whole comboing thing again. But gameplay-wise, I really do enjoy this area down here and how, again, I mentioned before, and how, one, you have your 3 unique abilities, but then you have your 2, like, immediate, you have 1 immediate and 1 endgame ability you can unlock. So you could go for those early and be, okay, I need to unlock these, so that's at a discount. It's a fun brain game that I really, really enjoy.
My thing, so I fully agree. Yeah, so again, yeah, using resources in a way where it's like, I can use some of them now to get a benefit right now, or I can use some to like wait for endgame. And like, I know I'm going to get there, but I'm going to use them now so it's ready to go.
Right.
So I do love the resource management. I also love the balance.
Yeah.
So this comes up in a lot of our games we play very differently.
Yep.
Where you have a treasury track that's going to get you endgame scoring. You have this track, which helps increase your treasury and get you a bunch of scoring. You have all of these ability unlocks, which gain you scoring, and then some of them, like the one on Nick's board there, can gain you additional scoring endgame based on a criteria.
That's why I randomly grabbed that one. I didn't mean to. That's one I had in our gameplay.
You also have unlocks here based on card count. So there's a lot of things that gain and how many islands you have. Mm-hmm. So if you're someone like myself, I kind of went heavy for cards.
Yep.
And like, oh, if you gain a bunch of cards, as long as you're unlocking those abilities, boom, you're going to get a ton of points. You don't necessarily have to unlock all of these as well. Mm-hmm. Or you can balance it, or go heavy down here and not as many on the card side. So it's very well balanced where you can take different approaches and still have a very close end game.
Yeah, and what I liked about it, so I saw him doing it with the cards, which is why in the game I actually hate drafted this tile that I have here now, which would give him points for those opened areas.
Yeah.
Which was great. It ultimately didn't, it may have, like if he got it, he definitely would have won by a long shot more so than he did end up winning. But it was fun to be able to take that and then try to figure out, okay, now how can I activate this to use it? And what I like a lot about this, there are those different tracks and different ways to go up to get points, is it doesn't feel like another game that we gave a just okay score to, which is Teotihuacan, where at Teotihuacan feels like you really have to focus on going up the temple tracks or else you're going to lose. Yeah. You can't focus on the other areas at all. Like you should be able to do any area, and as long as you commit, be able to get enough points to compete, where you couldn't in that game. Here you can. Here you can choose to go hard in the paint down here, and you're going to get a crap ton of points based on what you do. Or you can choose to do this. I think the only thing that is definitive in this for everybody is if you're going to this top row here, do it earlier rather than later, because it gets more expensive the longer you wait to do this, which makes sense because you're then trying to activate this to get more points at endgame. So that's your gamble. You can either gamble and say, you know what, I'm unlocking this right now, spending the resources because I think I'm going to do that, or you can wait till endgame where it's a sure thing and it costs you more to do it.
And it adds in a unique aspect, which is you're only going to have so many cards available every round. So 3 in one face down for the first handful of rounds, then 4 in one face down. This shows you here how many of each color there are. There's only 8 blue cards.
Yep.
So you're not going to want to go heavy in the blue category unless it just happens to have a ton of them pop out.
Yep.
Mathematically, the rest of the categories are where you're going to focus.
Yep.
The cool thing about that is they add this thing called trade routes. So if I had...
I mentioned this briefly a moment ago about how to get trade routes.
Yeah, so if I had this scenario here and I just got the Philippines, I automatically get a trade route card here for free
So
because it fills the row. Yeah, so as soon as you need it to fill the row, boom. So I can know, hey, I'm not really going to focus on blue. There's only 8 in that deck. I may not see them. Or let's say there was 1 popped out in New Zealand. He got it. Well, there's only 7 left. But I can focus on all of these and just pop a bunch of trade routes in here, which give you victory points themselves.
Yep.
And then go flying up. So to your point, I agree. Yes, do those early. But there is a nice balance where even though some have more than others, that trade route helps the gap in the middle.
And that was what was fun about finishing the game that we played of this is once we finished, I wanted to play again because I was like, okay, now I really get how this works. Now I have an idea of what I want to do and what I want to unlock based on what comes out and how to play. And then not only that, but we haven't really touched on it much, but each character that we have all have unique abilities associated with them from basic to more difficult. So like, for instance, the Reptilians here says, opposing bid cards sent to the vault come to you instead. You collect all payments made for their retrieval. May use opposing bid cards face up with a disguise. Double outbid rewards losing with them. Opposing bid cards are returned to their owners once used. I know that sounded like gibberish to you because you haven't played the game, but essentially what that's saying is when he used this card, when he used that card, instead of going to the vault, which is essentially a discard pile, I get it. And so when he pays to get those back or whatever it is, like I get the money for doing so. Like I become him, and it's not like I could use them in some way by probably using one of my tokens. Yeah. Essentially taking on his form.
And then Illuminati, which was great, is similar to like the stories you hear, is you just get to take money. So if I go onto a bid location that my opponent is already at, and they put, let's say, 2 coins on there to add +2 to their number, regardless if I win or lose, I get to take those 2 coins.
Yeah.
So I can intentionally put a 1 there knowing I'm going to lose, get the benefit of 1 coin off of the loss, and 2 more coins just for going there.
Yeah, and then the balance with Illuminati is sure, he can collect cash, but if he's forcefully losing, then, you know... Well, in that situation, if you're forcefully losing.
But that comes into play. Hey, I unlock this one down here on my board. Oh, I can exchange up to 3 resources every growth phase. Oh, I just got 3 cash. That wasn't even mine. I'm going to exchange that for land. Boom, now I can do other stuff.
Exactly. So it's a lot of fun to plan all that out. Anything else for gameplay that you wanted to mention? Likes, dislikes?
Last like, I don't really have any dislikes, really, other than what we covered with design. Last like is the 2 round conferences.
Oh, yes.
So that adds just one more fun little flavor into it where at the end of round 4 and the round 6, you go and have this challenge. So you go, you're like, okay, who wins this? If you win it, you, for this one, take this little extra obelisk and place it in. For that one, you can take the extra obelisk if you don't already have one or do the other benefits. But then the loser gets something as well. So he appreciates fail forward.
Call me the loser.
So you appreciate fail forward. I'm not necessarily a fail forward person.
So he gets benefits.
So I do like this, and then, again, it's probably 8 of them in that box, maybe 10. So it cycles up a little bit differently every time you play.
Yeah, public goals are always a good thing to have. And so you have your own goals, which you draft. You essentially, during mid-game, you draft a goal, essentially, which is great. And then you have your public goals, which you're trying to work towards as well, which is awesome. You always have something you're trying to work towards, and all information is out except for your coin, you know, behind your screen. That's the only thing that's hidden is your coin, and then the cards you put down that are face down. Yeah, that's really it. So that adds a lot of fun to it. So you can always kind of see, okay, how are they doing? What do I need to try and catch up? Can I adjust this? What are they going for to try and stop them from being able to get that? Yada, 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 yada. So definitely go watch our 2-player playthrough of the game. We were curious if this would be fun at 2 players, being the type of game it is. And it was, especially with the inclusion of these characters definitely helped out in adding that variety to it, which are those dummy characters. But definitely want to play this with more people.
Yeah, definitely.
So
yeah, this definitely hit. This definitely hit, and this would be a weird comparison, but with how the tracks move, with how these goals are, with resource management and all of that, and triggering some stuff now, some stuff endgame, in my mind, for whatever weird reason, I compare this to Wormspan. Because Wormspan also has that same vibe where you're building things out, and some of them will give you immediate benefits, some will give you end game benefits, some will give you later game benefits, and it kind of hits it all perfectly, where it's well balanced. Every strategy is potentially a winning strategy as long as you're doing it correctly. If you make a mistake, obviously, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
But I love this vibe to it. But yeah, definitely I want to play with more players.
Yeah, I can definitely say for myself personally, I enjoyed this more than Wormspan. And I like Wormspan, but this, I think I like the goal stuff. And I think I'm definitely more of a Euro like resource. I like resource management, that kind of stuff, more than I do specifically tableau building, which is really what Wormspan is. But
see, I play this like a tableau builder.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit of both, but you don't get abilities from these. Is the like Wormspan gives you abilities to adjacency and stuff, which is fun. So what's your final gameplay score?
Final gameplay score for Secret Societies, just the base game, is a. Oh, I'm in between two numbers. I don't have issues. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
I was between 4.5 and 5 out of 5. I don't really have any major gripes. So 5 out of 5. Great game. Definitely will play again.
Yeah. All right. My gameplay score is also a 5 out of 5. Early on, I was going back and forth. I was sitting here when we were getting ready to, when he was setting up, thinking I had it at a 4.5, and I was like, why? Like. Because the 5 is like we can't have anything that we don't like about that category. And so for gameplay, there wasn't anything that stuck out that I did not like about how it played. Everything was fluid, functional, and fun.
Yeah.
So everybody.
Yeah, so final Bolden board game scores. So we'll take each of our independent scores, round them together, and give you each category, and then the very final score.
And just so you all know, we do round down. So if you don't make it to the nearest half or a whole, so like if you finish at a 4.25, you go down to 4, not up to 4.5. So, you want to see what the scores are, don't you? So you can help.
You can say them all. Huh?
It's been a minute. All right. For storage, I gave this a 4 out of 5. Board gave this a 4 out of 5. So Bald and Board Games gives it a 4 out of 5. Storage fits everything perfectly, but the one thing that would have elevated it to a 5 would have been if the components that are in baggies had some sort of tray where we could just take them out and get them to the table quicker, which would also allow us to put it away quicker, so we could play this more and more quickly.
Yep. For Rulebook, I gave this a 4 out of 5. Bald gave it a 4.5 out of 5. That's the exact scenario. It will hold at a 4 out of 5. It does not go up to the 4.5. The Rulebook's very informative. Very well done. Few little gripes is, for me personally, the examples aren't really highlighted separately from the rest of the text. And then I had an issue with part of the setup.
Yeah, literacy is a demon. For design.
Maybe give me the Spotify, just listen to it.
Yes, you must the audiobook. You probably do it with AI now, unfortunately. So for design, I gave it a 4 out of 5. Board gave it a 3.5 out of 5. So we do end up at a 3.5 out of 5 for our Bald and Board Game score for design. So overall, there's a lot where simplicity is that simple is more benefit, but there's areas where that simplicity makes it very boring to look at. And then mechanically, for the way the game functions, when the main mechanics, sliding the cards underneath the player board, that should have been one of the main things that was built out to allow us to do that more easily, because that does kind of get in the way during gameplay a little bit.
Yep. And then finally, gameplay score. I gave it a 5 out of 5. Bald gave it a 5 out of 5. Bald and Board Games gives it a perfect 5 out of 5 for gameplay.
Yes.
Again, plays very fun, very well balanced, interesting. It's a game that, as we both said, right after playing, we're like, hey, we want to play again and just try a different group or whatnot, different faction.
Yeah, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't feel like it takes forever or anything. There's no paralysis by analysis that really took place at all, which is great. Alrighty, so my final score as Bald for Secret Societies by Garphill Games is a 4.5 out of 5.
And my final score as board for Secret Societies is a 4 out of 5.
So Bald and Board Games' final score for Secret Societies by Garphill Games is a 4 out of 5, which makes it
a Bald and Board Games certified must play. That's our second best category, right behind perfect.
Yep.
It pretty much means it hits all of the marks it should. Some things might not be great or amazing, but overall, everything is very well done. As Nick mentioned at the beginning of the video, 40% of our score is gameplay. Yep. So gameplay, playing well, which is why we buy a game, is the heavy factor, and this is very, very, very well done.
Yeah, it's definitely a recommend. It's definitely a must play. If you have a chance or find a way to get a copy of this, the auctioning game thing may scare you. Very simply, you put a card down, and that's one small part of this that just gets you your resources, essentially. The rest of it really is how you utilize those resources and the abilities you unlock, and then your character abilities. It's very easy to learn as well. So if you're looking for somewhat of an entry game for people who want to learn a Euro combo-y kind of game, this one is very easy to learn, and it has those cards that we showed you, which tell you each round what you're doing. It's by no means a simple game when I say that by entry-level game. I don't think it's an entry-level game, but it's a great one to get people into the hobby that I think is easy to take in because there's not a lot of pieces. There isn't a big board, so it's less intimidating is kind of my main point for anyone trying to get into it. But don't sleep on Secret Societies.
But don't talk about it either.
That's right. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at Bald and Board Games as we gave you our review for Secret Societies by Garphill Games. I'm Bald.
I'm Board.
And we will see you in an undisclosed location.
Black site.